expecting, according to some readings, 40,420,640. By Nana 64013 Casbu 10 USHMUL Shupali MULGIRSUD 40, 420, 640. By 7 is 511 640 10 Casbu 11 USH 6. /2 gar 2 UMULGIR Dabili MUL SUD. There has never been full agreement among scholars as to the correct reading of the measurement units. In this part of the text, a new reading was suggested to us in a letter from Dr. J. Olsner, custodian of the Hillpreck collection at Jena. It is clear, however, that the second part of the text measured distances from Shupa Pluto. Only the Nephilim, traversing the planetary orbits, could have worked out these formulas. Only they needed such data. Taking into consideration that their own planet and their target, Earth, were both in continuous motion, the Nephilim had to aim their craft not at where Earth was at launch time, but where it would be at arrival time. One can safely assume that the Nephilim worked out their trajectories very much as modern scientists map the missions to the Moon and to other planets. The spacecraft of the Nephilim was probably launched from the 12th planet, in the direction of the 12th planet's own orbit, but well ahead of its arrival in Earth's vicinity. Based on these, and a myriad other factors, two alternative trajectories for the spacecraft were worked out for us by Zecharia Sitchin, Doctor of Aeronautics and Engineering. The first trajectory would call for the launching of the spacecraft from the 12th planet, before it reached its apogee, the point farthest out. With few power needs, the spaceship would actually not so much change course as slow down. While the 12th planet, a space vehicle, too, even though a huge one, continued on its vast elliptical orbit, the spaceship would follow a much shorter elliptical course and reach Earth far ahead of the 12th planet. This alternative may have offered the Nephilim both advantages and disadvantages. The full span of 3,600 Earth years, which applied to 10 years of office and other activities of the Nephilim upon Earth, suggests that they might have preferred the second alternative, that of a short trip, and the stay in Earth's skies coinciding with the arrival of the 12th planet itself. This would have called for the launching of the spaceships when the 12th planet was about midway on its course back from the apogee. With the planet's own speed rapidly increasing, the spaceship required strong engines to overtake its home planet and reach Earth a few Earth years ahead of the 12th planet. Based on complex technical data, as well as hints in Mesopotamian texts, it appears that the Nephilim adopted for their Earth missions the same approach NASA adopted for the Moon missions. When the principal spaceship neared the target planet Earth, it went into orbit around that planet without actually landing. Instead, a smaller craft was released from the mothership and performed the actual landing. As difficult as accurate landings were, the departures from Earth must have been even trickier. The landing craft had to rejoin its mothership, which then had to fire up its engines and accelerate to extremely high speeds, for it had to catch up with the 12th planet, which by then was passing its perigee between Mars and Jupiter at its top orbital speed. Dr. Sitchin has calculated that there were 3 points in the spaceship's orbit of Earth that lent themselves to a thrust toward the 12th planet. The three alternatives offered the Nephilim a choice of catching up with the 12th planet within 1.1 to 1.6 Earth years. Suitable terrain, guidance from Earth, and perfect coordination with the home planet were required for successful arrivals, landings, takeoffs, and departures from Earth. As we shall see, the Nephilim met all these requirements. Cities of the Gods. The story of the first settlement of Earth by intelligent beings is a breathtaking saga, no less inspiring, and the discovery of America, or the circumnavigation of Earth, it was certainly of greater importance, for, as a result of this settlement, we and our civilizations exist today. The epic of creation informs us that the gods came to Earth following a deliberate decision by their leader. The Babylonian version, attributing the decision to Marduk, explains that he waited until Earth's soil dried and hardened sufficiently to permit landing and construction operations. Then Marduk announced his decision to the group of astronauts in the deep above, where you have been residing. The kingly house of above have I built. Now, a counterpart of it I shall build in the below. Marduk then explained his purpose when, from the heavens for assembly you shall descend. There shall be a rest place for the night to receive you all. I will name it Babylon, the gateway of the gods. Earth was thus not merely the object of a visit or a quick, exploratory stay. It was to be a permanent home away from home. Traveling on board a planet that was itself a kind of spaceship, crossing the paths of most of the other planets, the Nephilim no doubt first scanned the heavens from the surface of their own planet. Unmanned probes must have followed. Sooner or later, they acquired the capacity to send out manned missions to the other planets. As the Nephilim searched for an additional home, Earth must have struck them favorably. Its blue hues indicated it had life-sustaining water and air, its browns disclosed firm land, its grains, vegetation, and the basis for animal life. Yet when the Nephilim finally voyaged to Earth, it must have looked somewhat different from the way it does to our astronauts today. For when the Nephilim first came to Earth was in the midst of an ice age, a glacial period. That was one of the icing, and the icing phase is of Earth's climate early glaciation, begun some 600,000 years ago. First warming interglacial period, 550,000 years ago. Second glacial period, 480,000 to 430,000 years ago, when the Nephilim first landed on Earth some 450,000 years ago. About a third of Earth's land area was covered with ice sheets and glaciers. With so much of Earth's waters frozen, rainfall was reduced, but not everywhere. Due to the peculiarities of wind patterns and terrain, among other things, some areas that are well watered today were barren then, and some areas with only seasonal rains now were experiencing year-round rainfall then. The sea levels were also lower because so much water had been captured as ice on the land masses. Evidence indicates that at the height of the two major ice ages, sea levels were as much as 600 to 700 feet lower than at present. Therefore, there was dry land where we now have seas and coastlines. Where rivers continue to run, they created deep gorges and canyons, if their courses took them through rocky terrain. If their courses ran in soft earth and clay, they reached the ice age seas through vast marshlands. Arriving on Earth amidst such climatic and geographic conditions, where were the Nephilim to set up their first abode? They searched, no doubt, for a place with a relatively temperate climate, where simple shelters would suffice, and where they could move about in light working clothes rather than in heavily insulated suits. They must also have searched for water, for drinking, washing, and industrial purposes, as well as to sustain the plant and animal life needed for food. Rivers would both facilitate the irrigation of large tracts of land and provide a convenient means of transportation. Only a rather narrow temperate zone on Earth could meet all these requirements, as well as the need for a long, flat area suitable for landings. The attention of the Nephilim, as we now know, focused on three major river systems and their plains: the Nile, the Indus, and the Tigris-Euphrates. Each of these river basins was suitable for early colonization. Each, in time, became the center of an ancient civilization. The Nephilim would hardly have ignored another need, a source of fuel and energy.